Up next to present the Clyde V. Bartlett Distinguished Service Award is Valerie Wolcott Mendelson.
Don't need the glasses because I increased the size and bolded it. That's what happens when you start to age. Good morning, or maybe it's afternoon now. It's my honor and my pleasure to introduce this year's Bartlett Award recipient. The purpose of this award is to recognize an Ohio School Psychologist for outstanding services or achievement in our profession. Let me introduce this year's recipient by taking you on a journey. It's 1972. School psychologists from Lake and Geauga counties gather monthly at Hellriegel's restaurant in Painesville, Ohio. Bounding into the room is a tall young man with strawberry blonde curly hair. As I sit next to him, his leg jiggles nonstop under the table, yet he is contemplative and attentive as required. He is a bundle of energy, friendly, articulate, enthusiastic. Now visualize the Geauga County Educational Administrative Offices. It's 2012. Inbounds a tall fellow with short, curly gray hair who begins rapid-fire greetings, directions for lunch, followed by the beginning of a staff meeting. He announces new regulations, clarifies procedures, and warns of political potential pitfalls, all interspersed with his humor, and the knee jiggling under the table still persists. 40 years earlier, same thing. For those of you familiar with the recipient, you recognize these distinguishing characteristics, and you know of whom I speak. Others may need his name, Dr. Frank Scarano. Frank Michael Scarano is a hometown Cleveland boy. He was reared in the Italian culture of hard work, service, and love of life. He graduated from St. Joseph's High School. He pursued his psychology undergraduate and graduate school psychology graduate degrees from John Carroll. And he completed his internship in the era prior to Public Law 94-142. In 1973, Frank came to Geauga County, and in 1981, he was appointed as the Director of School Psychological Services following the completion of his PhD at Case Western Reserve University, and he has retained that position since. Frank is an active citizen of the Chardon community, where he and his wife reared their children. For residents who do not know Frank, you won't meet them. They know him. And for those reasons, it is a special pleasure to be able to introduce Frank for this award. Those are a few of the benchmarks of Frank's life, and now I want to share with you the reasons that he was selected. Frank's nomination portfolio is full of recommendations from multiple superintendents, principals, teachers, and his school psychology colleagues. Superintendents commend him for the collaborative efforts to help assist with special education implementation in the region. ESC directors and staff at Lake Erie College, they really address his ability to help regular education teachers understand and adjust to special needs kids. Principals and teachers note that Frank's dependability, his follow-through, as well as his practicality, ensure that the staff really welcomes his involvement on their team. The psychologists with whom he works describe his passion and his love for school psychology. As their supervisor, Frank is respected and valued as exemplified by these samples of their remarks. These are their words, not mine. Frank discusses the impact of upcoming changes and prepares us. He advocates for reasonable caseloads, professional development opportunities, and our general well-being. He serves as an excellent mentor to the new school psychologists as he supports their skill development and advancement and models exemplary professionalism. He shares research and best practices. He celebrates individual child and family successes and condemns injustices to children. And lastly, one of his staff states that Frank presents as an ordinary guy, but he's really extraordinary. Frank's commitment to supervision resulted in his active participation in the Ohio Supervisors of School Psychologists Association. His value to the group is represented by these remarks. Frank's positions on issues are well-reasoned, thoroughly researched, and clearly articulated. Frank's honesty, loyalty, and profound decency set him aside from many others. As a lifelong learner, Frank faithfully attends OSPA conferences along with his entourage of staff, sitting here with him now. He responds to listserv inquiries with clarifying, dependable responses. He assists with supportive activism while sometimes availing Ann Brennan of his well-thought-out responses to potential legislation. With so many admirable qualities, one would not begrudge a man held in such high regard a well-earned and reasonable measure of ego. But all who wrote of Frank address his humility and his service to others. And here I will refer to last year's shooting at Chardon Schools. Frank brought his staff together to serve the community in a most selfless manner. He met at the hospital with the families of the 4 life-flighted students. He reached out to the grandparents of the suspect. He apportioned resources to targeted areas. He consulted with the NASP-NEAT team. He attended funerals, and he provided follow-up debriefing for his own staff. Although Frank has continually attempted to escape the spotlight which his character and professionalism deserves, today, Frank, you cannot escape. OSPA chooses to recognize your lifelong devotion to children and families, to your community, to this profession, and to a life of service with the Clyde V. Bartlett Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Scarano.
The longer you clap, take you to get to lunch. I guess I stand between you and lunch. It's amazing. I'm not an Akron person, and I won an award. I got up early this morning to get the table in the back where I usually sit, and they made me come up here, and this is the 3rd time I've seen Dr. Barkley, and I now know what he looks like. Thank you for those very kind words, and thank you for the honor. I'm humbled to be given this award, especially when I look at the list of the people that have received it. I see a few people like Linda, Val, Nadine is here. I haven't seen Nadine in many, many years. I knew Polly Alexander. You probably could have substituted my picture in the early days of holding up probably a beer bottle, but this award was first given out in 1973 during that was a spring when I was during my internship year, and I decided that I was bored with the conference. I didn't need to know anything, and we were at Salt Fort Lake Park at the time. So I got on my swimsuit and took a swim and went into the sauna. And when I was sitting in the sauna, 2 gentlemen came in. And we started the conversation, and soon realized that I was cutting out of a conference. Well, we talked, and I told them why. So I was bored. I'm not learning anything. And as I left, they introduced themselves, Sam Bonham and Pete Gross. So I was immediately on a first-name basis with our head of our division and Pete, who was the head psychologist at the time, and he never let me forget that. So anyway, and like I said, I've known most of these people, and to be on the list is just humbling to me because they're such distinguished people. This is my 41st spring ASPA. As far as I know, I've never missed a spring ASPA, and my wife's here so she could see the kind of people I hang around with. Hopefully she approves. By being an ASPA, I've made friends throughout the state. It's provided the best professional development through the years, and I think I've only missed 2 or 3 fall conferences. I know once when I went with my daughter to China when we adopted our little grandchild. But I just want to just say thanks to the executive board, especially those that wrote letters on my behalf, and they kind of come from different parts of the state. First of all, Ann Brennan, Sharon Rickey, and Mike Forcade from the Hamilton County group, Perry Clark from Akron, my team here, Kathy Sanborn, Wendy, Jovan, Sue Maz, Amber Kokel, who was once one of our scholarship winners, and Suzanne Fletcher. In particular, I'd like to thank Val, Rob Kubik, and Carol Warnick, who wrote the letter that put my name in nomination. My wife and daughter are here. My oldest daughter, I have 3 children. They informed me like yesterday that they were going to come up. And they've been with me through this whole time because my daughter was 3 when I first started. I think my wife, who will be married 44 years in June, typed every single paper that I did from my junior in high school through my master's thesis to my doctoral dissertation on a rented Selectric typewriter. I just want to let you know, a typewriter is that machine that sits on your desk and you hit and it hits the things. 5 drafts, and every time we made a mistake, we started a new page. Somebody told me, never have your wife do a doctoral dissertation, you'll end up in a divorce, and let me tell you, it came close. I was pretty brutal. And my wife heard a lot of nice words. I'm not always as nice at home, maybe, as I am at work, but she's been with me through this whole time, and hopefully for many, many more years, like I say, 44 years. And my other 2 children one's in California and the other one had to work today. I just want to say one more thing before I end. I didn't realize how important ASPA was as an organization until February 27th, 2012. This is an absolutely fantastic organization. I was getting notes of support from all over the state. The crisis committee gave me support, Brian Hill and that group. But the most important thing was not only the support that they asked to give to the schools, it was that support to me, personally. How are you doing? Could we help you with anything? I don't know, maybe other organizations do that, but this organization did. And I hope the young people here would continue in ASPA. I know in the third year of being in ASPA, my whole intern class never came back again. And other than seeing them, they weren't here. And in particular, there were people from, as Val mentioned, the Cleveland area school psychs who CASP provided lunch, and we had Juliet Madigan and Laura Gable came in and did the debriefing. And those were really important steps. The problems in Chardon don't end. We just had a parent meeting the other night, but it's getting better. And all I could do is say thank you for the support. I am retiring in June. I will not be a stranger to ASPA. I will continue to eat breakfast with Sharon and Ralph and Karen, and eat dinner with either the Akron crowd or some of the Cleveland crowd or whatever, whoever have me. And again, thank you, and it's been a wonderful run, and I can't think of getting an award from a better organization. Thank you.
They didn't tell me.
Huh?